Dantix here. Anthem, the Iron Man co-op looter shooter from Bioware, has been released in early access, and I've had a chance to play the absolute bejesus out of it. I wanted to write a review to help you decide how you feel about purchasing the game, but as it stands, I can't answer that because so much is coming with the full release and day one patch. The developers have stated on multiple occasions that their game is a live service and will continue to be improved and updated, and that we should be providing them feedback to help that process along so they can make the best game possible. So this video is going to cover the best things about Anthem, as well as the improvements we'd like to see made to the game in order for it to reach its highest potential.
Interested?
Well, personally, I can't wait to see it. Just give me whatever intel Her Highness had and let's get the expedition started.
First, if you like what you see and can't wait to play the game, be sure to enter the competition to win yourself a copy of Anthem, link below. Those already playing, jump on my Discord to find groups and chat to others, over 17k members and counting. Also, there's an area to submit your Javelin's designs, fails and wins in order to be featured in one of my videos. So let's get started with something I love, the world's atmosphere. During my time with Anthem, I never felt as though I'd seen it all. The environment is beautiful, and even if you revisit the same area, you experience it in a different way and see something you haven't seen. It's an expansive and beautiful area, from jungles to scrap-laden fortresses. It doesn't go crazy with the biomes, which makes sense lore-wise, as this is technically an area around the fort that you're protecting, and you aren't flying to the poles or to the deserts. I thought I'd care about that, but there really is enough there that if you stop and take a look, you'll be surprised. From carnivorous plants to mushroom-like trees to avatar-like hovering rocks. In the middle of the action, it's hard to appreciate the detail, but I guess that's why free play exists at all, to let you explore at your leisure. From the start of the game till now, I've been completely immersed in the setting, and I commend the world designers for this. The first improvement needed though, as the game stands right now, involves the loading screens. There are far too many and they take far too long. And I'm playing on a PC with the latest tech. It's to the point now when I want to avoid doing certain tasks, like going out to the forge unless I absolutely have to. So when you finish a mission, there's a loading screen, then it takes you to the results screen, which I'll touch on soon, then it'll kick you into another loading screen. When you're back where you need to be, there will be another to get into or out of the forge, then another to get into another mission. During the mission, if there's a cutscene, there'll be a loading screen before it and after. And if there's a transition into a dungeon or underground area, there's a loading screen. If you choose to respawn, there's a loading screen. Even when they were shorter, the frequency does break the flow. Loading into a mission by far takes the longest, and not everyone takes the same amount of time. There's been a handful of incidents where I loaded last, and I found myself behind everyone who had already taken off. Which leads into another improvement that's needed, better tethering. Outside of free play, if you get a short distance away from the leader, a countdown will occur on your screen, and if you don't catch up within that time, you'll be teleported. The problem is, besides the tethering being much too short, is in most cases you can't catch up, as every javelin flies at the same speed. Another problem is that if you're teleported, you just don't blink to them. There's a loading screen before it. So what might happen is you sit through a long load to get into the game, only to try to scramble to catch up and be back in another loading screen. The game needs to be further optimized to make it so loading screens aren't as frequent or as long, and the tethering isn't as punishing or doesn't knock you into a loading screen. One improvement many suggested is to make the loading screen animated or interactable in some way so it doesn't seem as long. People give grief to the Mass Effect elevator sections, but I love them as they provide some interesting character interactions. If there was an area to test out loadouts, practice, see damage numbers on a test dummy, that would be great, as it would help you decide what you want to use, and secondly would cut back on the load screens required. What is absolutely fantastic though is the combat. I haven't experienced movement as flexible as I have in Anthem for a long time. Many times I survey the environment for an advantageous position and know I can get there, as flying changes up the game. When in trouble, I can boost into a hole, behind cover, or up to the high ground. I can approach high value targets such as turrets and snipers by flying through ravines or over cover to flank. A lot of enemies like the turrets reward you for getting behind them too, with a weak spot that takes bonus damage. When I see people dropping fast, it's usually because they have taken a problem head on instead of coordinating or trying a different approach. It's hard to initially snap your brain out of first-person shooter mentality. You have to be thinking about the third axis and applying it to the full effect. Sometimes you just gotta boost into the air, out of cover, hover, and start raining down death on those weak point heads. Sometimes you just gotta go to a more advantageous position, get up on a space mushroom for example, and use its rims to protect you from projectiles while lobbing grenades, mortars, lightning bolts, and bombs over. The guns have a noticeable impact and feel great. The abilities though are even more impressive. Explosions are big and impactful, lightning bolts crackle with power, and you get a shiver when you freeze enemies. It's when you work together though that it feels even better. Having a friend combo to spread ice all over your enemies before you drop down a massive explosion to make them all detonate while combo lights up on your screen and the sound kicks it up a notch. Everything sort of comes together to make combat one of the most enjoyable aspects of Anthem, hands down, and I'll keep coming back for more. If there's one improvement I could suggest in this area, it involves being critically damaged and awaiting repair from your group. Your screen is locked to your javelin and there's a big red icon over it. It's frustrating because it may take some time before you can be revived, and in a lot of cases, you can't see what's going on. A way to fix this is to let us spectate what our group is doing while we're down. A very simple fix. By spectating our team, we can also make helpful suggestions like that they should stop killing grabbits and come and help. Now, this is already on its way based on the Anthem Stage 1 roadmap, but we need more quest variety. By the end of my experience, I was well and truly done with gathering echoes. There isn't much to say here, but I feel as though a lot of potential really isn't tapped into yet. One of my friends mentioned that Warframe had a mission that had you racing to a mission goal, and you couldn't afford to stop and kill every enemy, but you couldn't ignore them all, encouraging team coordination. A mission type like that would be great, because right now it seems like you just go to a point, enemies spawn in, and you kill them. For those who have run into the mission involving tombs in Anthem, let me just say that this kind of thing splits up groups and encourages the worst kind of playstyle, but at least it's the only one of its kind. Even adding more bosses to the game would mix it up. Only having a boss at the end of Strongholds means we kinda know what to expect with everything else. Anyway you spin it, more variety would be appreciated, and I'm sure it's on its way. What is also on its way is bug fixes. Frankly, some bugs have been close to game breaking for me. In one instance, the game refused to load after an in-mission cutscene, and my party continued to play and finish the mission while I was stuck in the screen. I had to quit, load back in, but I missed the rewards, the cutscenes, and any story context. As you're unable to replay missions, which I'll touch on soon, this meant I had lost a part of the storyline unless I could find someone else who's playing it outside of the game and party up with them to do it. There's no way to request a particular mission, so I couldn't even reinforce a group doing it from the in-game menus. One of the bigger problems is the sound bug that completely kills all your in-game sound while in a mission. You have to restart the game to fix it. Enemies are also still vanishing when objectives are cleared, which breaks immersion. These are all bugs, and I'm sure they have fixes coming or have already been fixed in the day one patch. We should though most definitely be able to replay story missions. In a game like Anthem, which encourages replaying content on different difficulties, why is it that you can't replay missions on difficulties you can only unlock once you hit max pilot level? That alone is enough reason, but then you have the fact that when you're playing with friends, laughing and mucking around, you'll most likely miss a lot of story related content and banter, or if you're like me, miss it because of a bug. Replaying missions might be needed in order to get the full story, so the developers should 100% add in a way to replay missions, as it'll increase the variety you have late game, helping fix an issue already raised. A lot of work went into the critical path, and it's testament to their game that so many people want to replay missions. It's a lot of fun playing with friends, working together, mucking around and coordinating really is magical. It's not the same kind of pressure you have from a game like Apex, so there isn't raging out at each other's moments and friendship killing arguments, and you get rewarded no matter how you perform. Even a friend at the higher levels doesn't mind jumping in and helping out, as he'll be getting level appropriate gear regardless, and still be getting loyalty, crafting materials and coin. Higher difficulties encourage coordination, having a good team really shows. The alliance system further encourages playing with active people, as the more active they are, the higher rewards you'll get with playing with them. Guilds are coming soon, and this will increase the social aspect of the game as well. So if you're at the same point, it's very easy to lose hours and hours of time together. So this positive also raises a problem. Enjoying content with friends means that such a powerful narrative, and it is powerful, is hard to enjoy. When you have a group of 4, people are going to be waiting around. After every mission, you're thrown back into the fort to get your next set of quests, and that in itself breaks the flow a bit when you're in a group, but not everyone moves at the same pace. There will be people in the forge modifying their javelins, which you're encouraged to do. Then there'll be people walking around talking to everyone they can, which isn't needed but helps the immersion and is part of the character building aspect. Some people will just skip everything and rush into the next mission. People will be at different points, and the nature of the game means your group flow will be disturbed. That and the fact that most of you will be likely talking over some kind of voice communication service like my Discord, as a text chat is absent, meaning that a lot of the time you'll be be in a cutscene or listening to an NPC and your friends will be talking over it. It feels like a single player game at times and a multiplayer at others. There might be reasons to why text chat isn't an option, but whatever needs to be done to get it in should be. Its absence is very noticeable, especially when in a group of randoms. For a game that requires coordination, every tool should be available to you. If a text chat can't be implemented, at least some form of Apex Legends-like ping system should be. There are so many times where I desperately wanted a, for example, key legendary scout to be taken out, but I couldn't coordinate it clearly with the tools I had. So what I would like to see is some kind of quick mission select option post mission that a group could select to speed up the process and not require a trip back to the fort. Could start up a dialogue with whoever's doling out the next set of missions instantly. I would also like to see a text chat or ping system implemented. The personalization though is crazy good in this game. There is so much depth to how much you can do with each javelin, and being able to choose individual colors from a wheel seems generous in this day and age, which is saying a lot. I haven't run into any javelins that look the exact same yet, except of course default ones and those replicating the N7 armor. People are doing a great job adding their own flair to them though. Surprisingly, the microtransaction system is fair. During my playtime, I earned more than enough to buy everything in the featured store if I wanted all in game. If I didn't though, which would be hard to do, I could pay roughly $10 to get a full skin set, which includes the custom head, chest, arms and legs, which can be added individually and be colored how you see fit. If anything, I feel as though there isn't enough to buy at the current time. No doubt this will be changed very soon though. Then you have the crafting system, which rewards you for using a particular ability or weapon a lot by letting you craft increasingly more rare versions of them. A crafted item will always be to your current level and will have random inscriptions on them, further increasing their power, so you could craft items until you get all the inscriptions you want on that item. This is an elegant way to make sure you keep your power level higher than the current content without having to grind or look for the particular item that you need. Overall, the reward you feel from getting a new item or ability really does keep you pushing through the game. You might even find your team coordinating composition based on the masterwork and legendaries that you have. Besides the fort feeling a bit slow, it actually provides incredibly detailed and interesting lore when you take the time to listen. The characters are wonderful and varied, and what they have to say builds immersion. You really are encouraged to take your time, which kind of conflicts with playing in a group, but I recommend doing it anyway. A fun aspect of playing with a group is seeing how well you did compared to them. The post-game screen shows medals and experience, but sadly we can't even hover over the medals to see what they're actually for, let alone know how we did. A great improvement would be to show us key stats like kills, revives, and status applications so we can brag to friends, compare, or see where we need growth. If we're unable to see what medals are for, then there's no point of them being there, and cutting them would decrease the time we're in the results screen. Simply giving us all we need to see up front instead of staggering it over multiple sections would also help. But I prefer to see lots and lots of stats. Now, the sound, my god, the sound is one of the best things about Anthem. I touched on the combat sounds before, but the music and voice acting is fantastic. Those who have coordinated to make Anthem such an audible work of art deserve praise. There was not a single instance where I thought, that sound is out of place. In fact, there were multiple times where I thought, wow, that sound is amazing, and I haven't had that in the game for a long time. It's a fun, fast-paced, ability-based shooter that has you reaching for the next big drop and really itches the co-op fever that we have. There's a few things that we would like to see improve, but overall, I'm really excited for the future of this game and more from Bioware. The list of improvements I suggested are out of love for the game, wanting to see it achieve greater heights. You're welcome to disagree, but I have to judge the game based on what I've played so far, and those are the points that stand out. Everyone will have different experiences, so be sure to be mindful and friendly when discussing them in the comments sections. Anthem, just like games like Apex Legends, is something you either enjoy or not, so be respectful. Thank you so much for coming guys, and thank you so much for the support. I'll be back very soon with more on Anthem.